are expectant that at the end of the day, we are going to be able to reach consensus on all the issues, really. So we just want to appeal to the public to be patient, that ultimately this committee is going to deliver within the timelines that have been set out.
This is Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition has expressed concern that the party may face obstacles, fearing that a case may be filed in court to oppose the entire process of the committee and the implementation of things that may need to be held through a referendum. Yesterday, the committee announced a consensus on 3 issues, which include the 2/3 gender rule, the creation of the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and the office of the Leader of Opposition. Kimani Shunga represents the Kenya Council side.
We are making tremendous positive progress in our dialogue, and we foresee us being able to conclude this process by and large on the issue of the 2/3 gender rule, on the establishment of funds and the establishment of the offices of the Prime Cabinet Secretary and that of the official Leader of Opposition.
The dispute surrounding the ownership of independent power producers is getting complicated by the day. This after Attorney General Justin Muturi revealed that the government does not have any signed contract with the producers. Muturi told the National Assembly's Energy Committee investigating the rising cost of electricity that the Attorney General's office was not involved in onboarding the IPPs. Muturi now wants the DCI to initiate investigation to determine the real owners of the IPPs in the country. Muturi has indicated that his office needed to know more about the agreements, maintaining that they were signed without the advice of the Attorney General's office.
Did you ever get to fully unearth ownership of some of those companies that we are talking about that particular time?
And there's always been involved, I'm sure will not be where we are. They will still be found guilty because they will not have provided the names of the beneficial owners. That is what the current law requires.
The committee held a meeting in an effort to identify the owners of the companies who are said to benefit greatly from the increase in the cost of electricity. According to the report presented before the committee earlier this year, it was found that IPPs have been selling electricity to the government at a higher cost compared to government-owned power plants.
Some of the IPPs have been willing to look at their rates. And I think as a committee, we need to move with speed to see how much we can be able to get from them.
Those found to have, bound government in unconscionable contracts be meant to take responsibility.
And President William Ruto says the government is ramping up security operations in Turkana County and its environs to combat cattle rustling. Speaking in the county, Ruto said the government will deploy National Police Reserve to help police officers manage the security in the region. He added that 3 new sub-counties, Suguta, Lokiriama and Arro, will be established within 90 days.
Wale askari tumelete hapa North Rift wa kushughulika mambo ya usalama. Wakora tumewatoa kule Baringo, tumewatoa kule Elgeyo Marakwet. Tunasikia wakora hawa wamehamia hapa Turkana. Hawa wakora ambao tumewafukuza kutoka sehemu ingine, tunasikia wamehamia hapa Kapedo. Ati iko shida na Dome, ati iko shida Katilia, ati iko shida na Boyetum. Hawa wakora wote mimi nataka muambie rais amesema mambo yao ni matatu.
Interior CS Kithure Kindiki has defended plans to send police officers to Haiti. Appearing before the National Security Committee, the CS said Kenyan police have been sent to peace operations abroad several times.
From where we sit, government will not go ahead with the request if the assessment report is negative. It will be irresponsible, it will be unlawful, and therefore the assessment report generally has come in. It has said what we must do, but the viability of the mission has been affirmed. On the issue of the terrain issues, the gang issues that have been raised, etc., not the entire country is under gang control, and there are ways where that can be mitigated. So there is a lot of dynamics around to make sure that the force has all the requirements.
This is New Time, Dennis Aceto. Good morning.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Revenge is for children. It's for kids. When you grow up, you realize the best revenge you can take on somebody is to ignore them.
I'm just new in politics. It is not everybody's cup of tea. That's why some people come in one term and that's it for them.
Political parties in this country do not have ideologies, whether luring or otherwise.
And that is the effect of corruption.
Any time an offense occurs anywhere in the country, it is the job of the Inspector General to look into it. Whether it's corruption, whether it's murder, whether it's petty, that is his job.
If we have chosen to be a corrupt nation, then we produce corrupt leaders. Everything then becomes chaotic that you cannot be able to change a nation.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you very much, Eric, and it's good to be at the Situation Room.
Always a pleasure coming here. This is the most challenging interview panel in Kenya. You guys are very well informed, and as you can see, Charles today very philosophical.
To be poor in this country is the greatest sin you can commit, not just from a legal perspective, but from life generally. It is very, very skewed.
We've just heard on the floor of Parliament, just most recently, a leader within the ODM saying that sisi ni ng'ombe is a baba.
Yeah.
Which means that you are willing to be milked dry.
You cannot force me to believe. I'll give way. If it's land that I'm told to return to you, I will. Okay? Because the court has said so. But I'll continue saying, watu wamenirusha. That's all that I'm doing.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
3, 2.
Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Heri Latifa, Muga, Madam Du, nimesalamia wote sana.
Tumepokea salamu, asante sana.
Hapa Garissa today the weather is very good, only that baridi inatupeleka mbio sana.
Baridi ni degree ngapi hapo?
Hata sijui, lakini madam tunakauka sana.
If you want to follow the money trail, you've got to think like a thief to be able to catch that thief.
A slap from a friend is better than a kiss from an enemy. You remember the kiss of Judas Iscariot? Iscariot.
Yes.
He's the one that imetuweka kwa hii mashida yote na mataabu kwa sababu of that kiss. Yet the slap of Jesus Christ when he slapped those guys and walikuwa wanauza mboga ndani ya kanisa took them to heaven.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Congratulations. You've seen the hand of the Lord.
Thank you very much. I've earned another title today this morning at Spice FM. Mama Justice, I don't mind it.
Joel in Kericho.
Salama sana Heri, habari ya asubuhi.
Salama bwana, mambo namna gani?
Salama kabisa bro.
Mambo ya Inamoi kuliendaje?
Mambo ya Inamoi, vile nilikwambia ndugu yangu, alienda asubuhi na ile gari ya kwanza.
I must have missed it.
So did I.
Even if somebody was to render you irrelevant, there is still work you can do.
Okay, sawa.
I deserve to keep you accountable. You deserve to give me a report. You don't work for me. No, I don't work for you. You work for me.
Do you like that Freudian slip? Lovely, isn't it? Thank you very much.
The Situation Room.
All right, good morning and welcome to Friday. And it looks like it's going to be a busy one. We're already seeing outbound traffic today, likely to build up as we get into traffic hour proper. The sun is up and it's early. Most of our roads this morning, not too much happening. A little bit of movement on the Thika Superhighway as well as on Jogo Road as well. We'll see that movement as we then come into the city later. Southern Bypass looks pretty good. All our bypasses, northern, eastern, as well as this southern one, looking pretty good this morning. Just keep an eye on things and see how Friday opens up. Let's talk on Spice FM KE on X.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way.
Nani?
Wewe.
Morning, good morning.
Ongelesha raia.
Hiya, good morning. How are you?
Wasalimie sana.
Mko salama? Friday in Kiswahili?
Ijumaa.
Ijumaa. Ijumaa. Naendelea aje?
Ijumaa Karim. Mambo vipi?
Mambo poa.
Mambo freshi?
Kabisa.
Very good.
How are you doing?
Mambo yangu iko salama sana.
I'm very happy to hear it.
Very good. Hapana maneno ya nini ya kuregarega.
Kufanya nini?
Kuregarega.
Kama tugege.
Kama tugege. Sawa. Tugege tunaregarega.
The English have a phrase that describes what the two of you are engaged in terms of the bringing in of new words to enrich your vocabulary. It's called coinage.
Yes.
So, rega, where it came from, it's now officially in the lingo of this East African country called
Kenya. You know, actually, rega is a Swahili word.
Yes, I know. But when said that way, it requires new meaning.
It requires a new one.
It does. In addition to what it actually means, it's been given, should we say, lighter duties or added responsibility.
Otherwise, City?
Mazemi niko fiti.
Very good. Very good. Karibu sana studioni.
Hii El Niño ndio inasumbua.
Inakusumbua wewe ama inasumbua?
Mimi inisumbui kama baba. Because people are expecting rain because according to them El Niño is rain.
Yeah.
And there's no rain, it's just hot. So nilikuwa nauliza sasa kama hii ni heat na kuna mvua, hii ndio inaitwa El Nini sasa hii. Kaambia mzee.
El Nini hiyo.
It's part
of it. Serikali promise El Nino hata imeshindwa kudeliver El Nino.
Yani hao watu kwani hakuna kitu wata deliver kwambia unajua. I said no, this one it may not seem so but it is part and parcel of it.
It's coming.
It's here actually.
Well, anyway, good morning, everybody. Let me tell you what we'll be discussing today. This week, the cabinet met in Kisumu.
Yes, they
and
did.
among the things that they discussed was, that expecting that Parliament will be concluding with the main health bills soon. And among those health bills is one that looks at how to enhance pharmaceutical manufacture. And setting up, the cabinet has been discussing the setting up of a vaccine manufacturing plant in Nairobi, bringing in foreign investors. But there are also very many local investors who have been here for many years working on pharmaceutical production. How have they been doing? Like the company called Dawa. Remember Dawa Pharmaceutical?
Yes.
Sometimes we used to make Dawano.
I remember them.
Remember Dawano? They are still here, Dawa Pharmaceutical. But do they manufacture anymore? Are they able to? Do they have the capacity to manufacture? Or are they now distributors of others?
Other people's goods.
But there are local manufacturers of pharmaceuticals. Let's talk about the impact of local pharmaceutical production. And we'll be joined by a boss from the Ministry of Health. Dr. Gerald Masharia is the thematic lead, Local Manufacturing Directorate of Health Products and Technologies, Ministry of Health. He'll be joining us at 7 a.m. to talk about that. And at 8 o'clock, we'll talk about what we saw coming out of the courts yesterday. No case to answer, or lifting of the ban on GMOs means to Kenyans. The court yesterday said, well, there's nothing really to stop us from allowing the importation of GMO food into the country, really. With Justice Angota saying, we have many institutions, we have laws that will protect Kenyans. So why don't you just go with that? Dr. Joel Ochieng is a program leader, agricultural biotechnology at the University of Nairobi, and Secretary General, the Kenya University Biotechnology Consortium. He joins us at 8 a.m. for that conversation. And then our Health Friday conversation today, all of them are actually Health Friday conversations. World Sight Day, Eliminating Avoidable Blindness. We'll be joined by Okoh Victor, who's the President, Optometrists Association of Kenya. Who are those?
Optometrists.
Who are they?
So they are the ones who deal with sight assistance. Optometrists are the ones who...
Are optometrists opticians?
Sometimes.
And other times they are?
Opticians.
They can be just opticians, or they can do both.
Okay.
Ophthalmologists then go into the inner makeup of your eye.
So these opto people are...
Ophthalmologists oftentimes will be surgeons as well.
Yes. And optometrists are the others.
Okay.
And they're not opticians. Sometimes they're opticians.
They can be both or one.
They can be both what and what? Optometrists
and opticians.
Okoh will be here at 9.
And he'll tell us.
He will explain all those things in great detail. You got some? All right, tell us about weather shortly. Thank you. Thank you very much. You do? You like it?
I do.
Let me tell you, like City would say, you have very good taste. You, my friend, has very good taste.
You do know that I'm actually here.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you aware that you're here?
Just talking about being the fourth person, as I'm not here. I'm actually here.
Yeah. Live streaming the show on YouTube and Facebook. If you're online, let's hear from you. Well, where are you tuned in from? Say hello to us, to Eric, to CT, to Ndu, to Ednah. 17 minutes after 6.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Clear conditions. Sun is up in Nairobi, highs of 28 and lows of 16 today. Clear at 12 in Nakuru with highs of 27, and at 15 degrees, Nyeri is clear with highs of 26. And looking into a clear Eldoret at 12, highs of 25. In Mombasa this morning, it's clear as well, 23, highs of 31 and lows of 23. Mostly sunny conditions at 24 in Malindi with highs of 31. It's 20 and clear in Kisumu, highs of 30. And we'll see highs of 28 in a clear Kakamega at 17. Partly cloudy conditions at 19 in Kampala with highs of 28 and lows of 18. Dar es Salaam is partly cloudy at 25, highs of 30 and lows of 24. It's 11 degrees and cloudy in Johannesburg with highs of 27. It's a rainy morning in Lagos at 24 with highs of 31. Partly cloudy at 25 in Kinshasa with highs of 31 as well. There's a haze over Beijing skies Friday afternoon going to highs of 23 and lows of 10. And it's mostly cloudy at 18 in Paris with highs of 26. London will see highs of 20 with heavy rain this morning at 17. Thursday night, clear in New York. Coming into Friday, highs of 21 and lows of 10.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM,
All right,
Nairobi.
19 minutes after 6.
It is. Don Tapa's online this morning says, keeping them honest. Who? Loans taken by Kenya government are mysterious in the books. Okay. Good morning. Ndu, Eric and Mwalimu CT. Good morning, everybody. The weekend starts with a hot seat, says Sir George Gashoiri. Have a great weekend and let's meet again on Monday. Let's do Friday first now. Why are you just shooing us away? George, we're still here.
Saying goodbye.
Imagine.
Good morning.
Saying good morning and goodbye. See you on Monday. Okay. At least 3 hours and 39 minutes, 40 minutes thereabout. Agri Momanyi has a case this morning. And he says, good morning, good people. CT, nobody has hugged you in the studio. I demand Ednah to do it.
Very good, very good. Ednah, maradat, mbio.
Haraka.
Haraka upesi.
Thank you, please.
Yes, she's
CT
coming.
needs the love. Without the love, this Friday cannot continue.
Yeah.
Thank you, please.
Yego. Cheza na camera like that. You see, Ednah is trying to be clever. Cheza na hiyo camera like that.
Hey, and then
Sydney,
look at how Ednah is dressed today.
Look at the way City is trying to... Hey,
City, stop pretending.
Weka hiyo camera.
Oh, City, who wants anybody?
Weka ile long way bado. City, sisimame bana. How do you hug somebody?
Agri has been agitating for this hug for weeks.
Wait. Here goes getting. There you go. Very good. Haya. Ednah, kachini sema salimia watu.
Ednah, please greet us.
Salimia watu. Biore.
Wakire.
Hi, Eddie.
Wakire.
Thank you.
Biande.
Biande is what now?
I'm doing good.
Oh, you're telling us you're doing good.
Wakire.
It's good morning.
Oh, it's good morning. Then I say?
Biande. Wakire bia. Good morning.
And then Biande?
Niko poa.
Wow, very good.
Kaveve kazoze.
This woman is not well. Agri, you must be a happy man. Are you not?
Good. Very good.
He's gone on to say 2 ants do not fail to pull 1 grasshopper. Is it?
2 what?
Ants.
Do not fail to
antis.
pull 1 grasshopper.
Ant. Ile
ant.
Sawa.
Ile. Hey, Eddie, isn't she lovely? All right. James Sekento says, tuning in from Kerara Pond, let us pray for peace in Gaza. Good morning, good people. It's Friday. Mkunywe uji kwa bili yangu.
Sawa.
Nataka kitu ingine.
Uji ni poa sana.
Just go with the flow, man.
Go with the flow, bana.
Grain. Now you can graduate it. It's grain.
It's still grain. Even barley is grain.
Yeah, it's grain. Hops are grain.
Okay.
Are they?
Okay. The 2000, thank you very much for that. Deep Stage, you're congratulating me. Thank you, man. H. Mwangi says, good morning, Wanainchi. Please ask Eric to sing Naskia Sauti as the Friday closure song. You've been asked twice now.
Okay.
Third
At
time's
10
a
a.m.
charm.
Remind me.
I will remind you. Monis Janeth said, good morning and God bless Kenya. Antonio Nyango is in Borabu. And all the way from New Delhi. He has disappeared. All the way from New Delhi is... where did he go? Ooh, I've lost him. All right. Yes, there we go. Emmanuel, CT stand for Kujua too. Anyway, Latiff and Ndu, I love you. Okay. CT stands for CT. Can I tell them what CT stands for? C stands for Charles. T stands for Timothy. CT. It's the letters of your name.
Initials.
Yeah. It's the initials of his name. I love you guys. Good morning to you too. Friday Tamu Tamu. Indeed. Mugwe Wainaina is tuned in from Roiro, Watalam. Lois Damien says, good morning, Silver folks. Silver? Okay. Kanyada is locked in as usual. Stan Laus Kimeo says, good morning. Good morning, Eric Ndu and Siti tuned in from Utawala. Good morning, my happy family. I'm just wondering where we are going to have a conversation and expanding the national cake. There's a cake. Allah. Hiram Gavondu says good morning. Robert Mbogo is also tuned in. Watuangu, it's Freitag. Indeed, it is. Freitag. Good morning, CT. Eric Ndu. Not forgetting Ednah, of course. It's a beautiful morning here in Loy Tok. It is. I would love to see the sunsets and sunrises in that area. They must be amazing.
Yes, they are.
I would love to see that.
They
Wake
are
up to
amazing.
That. Hi, Ndu CT and Latiff. Today's proverb: if we had no fools, who'd buy all the bad bananas in the market? Okay, Joe, you've woken up on the right side of the bed this morning. Homer Bay is locked. That's where Stephen Boga is this morning. Dr. Venvik is tuning from Chuda in Mombasa. And Ama Okoh tuning from Nakuru. John Matinga says GMO. Okay. Gikombe is tuned in from Phuket, not Roiro. Okay, sawa. Matinga says he's also here. Antonio Nyango tuned in as well. Also waiting for El Nino. John also said, let's talk economics. It's an issue. Okay. We see everybody. John K. Ann Gore tuned in from Saboti. Our Faxad Makori tuned in as well and says, what a good way for CT to start the day. Everybody's greeting you, Ednah. Blessings upon blessings, because you've done like what? Done like that. Morning, everybody. Karibuni sana.
CT? Final proverb from Tanzania?
Yes, this one is, again, a Friday proverb. Simple, straightforward, and to the point. It is not possible to misunderstand it.
Okay.
Everyone has a weakness. No one is perfect.
Voilà.
Is that a proverb? Like, really?
Okay. How do we live life with this lesson?
All right. Perhaps I can offer another proverb, because you have said that particular proverb doesn't sound like a proverb. It sounds like a statement of fact. Okay. All right.
Like the sun rises from the east. Proverb.
All right. Let's look at another proverb, since you've rejected that proverb. A long road cannot lack corners.
Okay.
Well, that one could have, deeper meaning, those kind of things.
Okay. Okay, there's a third one.
Three proverbs for
No,
Friday.
if you feel that is enough, this third one I think should make your day.
Okay.
But this one, there are just 4 words to it. Two-way confused hyena.
Two what?
Way confused hyena.
Njia panda. Very good. So which one do you want? The first,
I'll
the
give you
second, or the
choice.
third?
You cannot say that I haven't offered you a choice on Friday.
Which one do I want?
Yes. Okay, which one would you like? What is your preference?
I'll go with the long road and the no corners.
That one?
But this hyena is confusing me with
All
tigers.
right, then a long road cannot lack corners.
Okay.
So
when it comes to hyenas, you'll be seeing tiger, leopard,
Leopard.
cheetah, giraffe,
Pussycat.
Yeah,
Not doing that
Simba,
anymore.
the dog. Chewy, the dog. Hey, Sawa. Let's look at the headlines then.
All right. Team OK's Raila Mudavadi posts. This is on the front page of the Standard, just in case you were wondering. No, I should say it like this. Guess what, guys?
Wow.
The talks, the dialogues, they've come up with this and they said, you know what? It's a surprise. You were never expecting this before. But they've okayed the posts for Raila and Mudavadi.
What?
So imagine.
Guy.
I'm telling you, never saw it coming. Out of left field, jumped out of the woodwork. Everything except that was expected. Okay. We'll look into the details of that later. It's 4,000 shillings for a bag of maize. State declares that's what they're going to be buying for from farmers. Okay? Trying to make sure that the correct F is in the correct place. Now, in case you were wondering, maybe after all the noise that you've made and we've made and agitated and said what, and whether there's a court case or not, CS Kindiki says, Haiti deployment, it's happening, folks. So you can say whatever you want to say, but it's what?
Happening.
It's happening. Kenya Airways plane was diverted yesterday. I was trying to land at... I was actually taking off yesterday, and then it was diverted as
it was approaching London.
Heathrow. And they said there was a security threat. There's many questions about that in terms of what really happened. And we'll look into the details of it in a bit. All right. On the front page of The Nation, that's a story there. Why KQ plane was diverted in London. Kenya Airways flight KQ 100 from Nairobi to London was yesterday afternoon intercepted by the UK's Air Force and diverted from Heathrow to Stansted Airport. After a potential security threat, the plane landed safely and according to KQ was later cleared to continue normal operations. So, just hold on for a minute and then we can clear you to go. So the question is, what really happened? GMO foods on our plates, now a reality after the court ruling. We'll be having a conversation about that as well. Progress and sticky issues in Ruto-Raila talks. President William Ruto and Azimio leader Raila Odinga are in agreement over the creation of the Office of Prime Cabinet Secretary and official leader of the opposition, but not on the reconstitution of the IEBC and the demand for a forensic audit of the 2022 presidential poll results. Okay. Foreign Secretary Blinken has gone to Israel this is the US, of course, to express solidarity and urge restraint. So that'll be interesting to see. Yay. Now, the CS for Health, Susan Nakumicha, had said this deal with doctors going to Cuba is cancelled. That was a couple of days ago. But I'm a bit confused because... actually, I'm not confused. So they said this deal is cancelled. We're not doing this anymore. And so the Cuban doctors that were in country have now climbed plane and gone. So,
is it a termination or has it come to its natural end?
It has come to an end, and Nakumisha said we are not going to renew this.
We shall not continue this story.
Continue in this.
We will not get a new batch.
Yes. And so thereafter, they have come and gone.
So,
Faith Kipyegon is a nominee for the Female Athlete of the Year, and so is the winner and world record holder, the winner of the Chicago Marathon, Kiptum. Kelvin Kiptum. He's also been nominated for the coveted 2023 World Athlete of the Year award in the men's category. So that'll be interesting to see. Now, remember after 2022, the KCSC. Everybody got an A. Everybody gets an A.
Last year?
A. The year before last. And then last year, now they're saying, you know what? There was a problem. And there's been a probe right? And they say they found major anomalies in the 2022 KCSC. How people cheated. It's on the back page of The Nation.
Okay. So it has taken Parliament an entire year to unravel this.
Yes, please. And we're saying it now in October with less than 1 month to go to the next KCSC. So, do with that what you may. But we'll give you the details of that.
The Business Daily, CBK and investors in a standoff that drives interest rates to 16-year high. A standoff between investors and the Kenyan government over interest rates escalated this week after the sale of the October Treasury bond raised less than 20% of the 35 billion shillings on offer. Latest data shows the state only raised 6.3 billion out of a target of 35B, as investors are seeking higher returns, suggesting they have better alternatives. The rate investors are asking for are the highest in over 16 years, surpassing the previous highs seen as at the end of 2015 and early 2016 when they touched 16%. They are asking for more, more than 16%. They're actually demanding for 18.46% in T-bills and in bonds. This, of course, will have an impact on everything else. Standard to downgrade premium banking clients. Standard Chartered will downgrade its Kenyan customers from its affluent banking status, known as priority banking, if they fail to maintain a minimum account balance of 4 million shillings, to deposit 4 million shillings every month, or apply for a mortgage worth at least 12 million shillings. This as the bank raises the bar for its customers to enjoy one of its most prestigious retail banking products. What are the benefits of priority banking? Dedicated relationship and service managers, investment advisors, and other specialists. People who just call you directly. How about you do this and the other? Or you call them directly and say, you know what, I want some money. Oh, how much? Access to 24 hours dedicated line and video banking. Broad range of investment options. Educare, home, motor, and travel insurance. Priority status recognition globally. International relationship team, preferential interest rates on deposits, full suite of mortgage solutions with higher loan limits and preferential rates. That's what they get. Now they're saying, unless you have 4 million shillings in your bank account, or you're depositing at least 4 million shillings every month, or you have a mortgage worth 12 million shillings and above, priority, not you. Not you. Okay? Aya. Then the ticker headlines, there's a headline on the Nairobian is out today. Headlines. There's a headline here. City pastor rejected over realms of darkness in divorce saga. Apparently, there's a city pastor and there's a church. And this pastor was, a Nakuru AIC pastor was locked out of church together with the faithful after being linked to a divorce case between two members of his previous church. Yeah, I'll tell you the story. Other headline, relationships. Don't allow him to cheat in peace.
What?
Yeah. Sikae tu hivyo fua, and then you're just allowing him to cheat.
You should be cheating while you're making noise.
Yes. Cleaning the pulpits. SDA ban hired MCs and comedians during church events. At we are having a wedding here, and you bring in Jew. Nah. Those are the small headlines. The big headline in the Nairobian, fairy tale love affair goes sour. They're looking at the case of the environment CS Soipantuya and the case that's before court, which is demanding maintenance, child maintenance and custody. And then they look at other cases, including Sonko and Charles Nechai, who have landed in children courts, such cases. Yeah. City? Hiyo kitu.
Star, top right-hand corner in burnt brown. Oh, sorry, orange. Siasa, page 13. State borrowing, not a bad idea if money used for development.
Well, of course. Okay, sorry.
It's borrowed for development, but is it used for development?
That's it.
Right. Forensic examination Mackenzie here is that controversial person.
Okay.
Who is now languishing in a rehabilitated center called a prison as he awaits his the outcome of his case. Is that how to look at it? All right, fine. Mackenzie letter to followers to fast to death intercepted.
He's written another one.
Oh, hold on. He's written a letter that was then... Okay, sorry.
Second Mackenzie. Chapter 2. Mackenzie's second letter to the
Past
faithful
tense.
in the
Prosecution
Salonic.
past tense, actually. Prosecution describes document found in prison as dangerous. Mackenzie directed followers to fast to death, reveals letter. Authorities at Shimlatewa Maximum Prison have intercepted a letter by Pastor Paul Mackenzie directing his followers to fast to death while in custody. Okay?
So he's writing. He's like Paul Kabisa.
Yeah.
This is
the majority of his letters were written around.
He's the letter of Mackenzie.
The letter of Paul Mackenzie
to the faithful in
custody.
Is he writing to those in custody, or is he somehow getting this communication? I get it, but is he writing to people who are in there with him?
He's writing to the
because he
faithful who are
can't see
outside.
them, or those who are outside.
Those who are outside.
Those
who are outside, right?
Yeah.
To the faithful in the Salonike and the other places.
Yes. This is the letter of Paul Mackenzie.
Shaka Holaika.
Yes. Not Ephesians. Yes, exactly.
The guy get liver, sha.
The letter was dated July 22nd. Anyway. I'll tell the story later.
Read a bit of
DCI who shot himself was to retire in a few months. Remember the story of that police gentleman?
Yeah.
Corporal Linus Mutunga. He apparently found himself in his car. He had been shot himself in his car. There's a story about it. I'll tell you a little bit.
At the headquarters.
At the headquarters at DCI. And he was about to retire. He had actually received his papers. He received documentation. So he was just whiling his time waiting to leave.
Aye.
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, he drove to work and joined. So.
Get your sunscreen out. High temperatures to continue, says weatherman.
Mnavanga sunscreen.
What?
Unajipaka sunscreen.
Sunscreen ni ya temperature mani ya jua.
You actually asked a very valid question.
20-something minutes. What were you saying? Oh yeah. Shh.
Are we going on to a break?
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Okay, a few minutes to 7, and I think we're just going to start to see a build-up now, especially on the Thika Superhighway, getting out into the CBD. Nothing too crazy at the moment, just at that survey area is where we'll see some of that building up as you get then out past the Mathare Valley area, out towards the CBD. Westlands looks good. Coming into the CBD, if you're coming off Landis and Kamkunji at the roundabout, you'll see a little bit of stickiness there, but and it's probably going to get heavier as we're getting into Friday proper. All right, that looks like it's just about it for now. Let's see how that progresses later on. Let's talk on Spice FM, KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So there was an exam that was sat, right, in the name of the KCSC, and then there was a probe because they said, everybody be getting A, not possible.
People are saying people in some certain districts were like behaving like counties or behaving like...
We've never seen them take exams before.
Yes.
Surely. National Assembly Committee probing allegations of massive irregularities in the 2022 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education has poked holes in the administration of the exams, but found that the results did not deviate much from the previous editions. In a report submitted to the National Assembly, the Education Committee, chaired by Tinderet MP Julius Melly, has also recommended a number of changes to ensure the integrity of the national exams moving forward. The committee observed that trend and comparative analysis of the performance of the 2022 KCSE examination results against the performance of previous years was normal, and there was no significant deviation anomalies, and this was part of the report. This is very interesting because splashed on the front page of the Star, as CT would tell us, is how exam KCSE 2022 was leaked.
Well, where?
So Which is it? The committee observed, the report notes that there were isolated cases of examination malpractice perpetuated by the use of technology and early release of examination papers. So
isolated cases?
Yes. And then they said early release of examination papers. You know, the day when the exam is released, it's announced. Everybody stands outside the examination council and they say, press conference, we're going to give a presser, etc., etc.
Not results, the paper.
No, now when
the exam itself,
right?
Math paper 1 is on Monday.
When they make that examination announcement here. But now what they're saying is that some of these papers somehow found their way out before that announcement was made. So that's one of the anomalies that they found. According to the MPs, these cases were orchestrated by teachers, invigilators, supervisors, principals, security officers, and my people, KNEC officials. Motivational speakers, Allah, also played a role in fueling the cases of examination malpractice by claiming to have knowledge of the question that will appear in the main examinations.
Motivational speaker?
Yeah.
Can they have become prophets?
I have a non-understanding.
Okay, go on.
Some of the cases of irregularities identified include collusion, possession of unauthorized examination material, possession of mobile phones, and impersonation. So, Eric, can you get some braids and go and sit in for me for the exam kind of thing? The Direction of Criminal Investigations told the committee that 44 cases related to the 2022 KCSE exams are under investigation. 17 are in court, 6 have been concluded, and 1 arrest warrant has been issued. The investigation began after allegations of massive irregularities were made following the release of the exam results. Now, Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu denied the allegations, of course, and made presentations to the committee as it investigated the matter. And many other people around the country also made submissions. This is all coming a month towards KCSE. Essentially, what they're trying to tell us is that they're trying to make sure that all the nuts and bolts have been tightly screwed in and that they don't want to see this kind of anomaly later. But after all the noise that was made, how is it possible that you get A everywhere? What the committee is telling us essentially is that there's no big difference or deviation between the results of 2022 and the results of 2021. It just meant, students were taught better, they studied better, they retained knowledge and information better.
So was there cheating or was there not cheating?
They said there was isolated cases of cheating. Okay. It was not widespread,
So did it warrant Parliament to sit for a whole year?
This is a good question.
Maybe it did, because then it validates the results of the people who...
Because they've taken their time to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. Yeah.
Okay. I saw part of that report was saying there are some schools where students, the markers were saying students in the same school were giving the same answer.
All of them.
To a question. The same wrong answer in some cases.
Those are the anomalies that we are talking about here. So were you coached? Did you get the paper?
Same wrong answer from multiple students who were in the same school. Okay. Hiya. This one, let's talk about. It's a big one. It's also in the Standard. It's a headline in the Standard. There is a story in the committee that has been meeting at Bomas. This big bipartisan, whatever dialogue, the committee. President William Ruto and Azimio leader Raila Odinga are in agreement over creation of the office of Prime Cabinet Secretary and official leader of opposition. The 10-member National Dialogue Committee yesterday announced that they have also reached consensus on the 2/3 gender principle and entrenching NGCDF into the Constitution. The items are not contested during the talks at Bomas. The matters that are kind of, as if like this, the reconstitution of IEBC, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party demands for forensic audit of the 2022 election, and the issue of the cost of living, those ones remain contested issues. The cost of living, is the cost of living high, is it low? Does it need to be addressed? It's contested. The talks team have scheduled yet another meeting this morning to tackle some of these contentious items as they race against time to conclude the negotiations and submit a report to Parliament. The consensus around creation of positions has the potential of setting up Raila against his supporters who rallied around the cost of living as the main issue, not these issues of positions,
Okay.
It's like asking ourselves, you see those memes that go around, you can clearly see this is a bike, but it's in a gift wrapping.
Yeah, so you say,
and it's
what
a Christmas
can this
gift.
be?
And you're given that thing.
Yeah, shock on you.
What can this be?
What
wow.
would they possibly say?
Is this a TV? No, it can't be a TV. A TV is not this big. Is it? Is it a car?
Is it a car?
Could be a cow, maybe.
Is it a dress?
This is exactly it. The outcome of bombers is well known. They are wasting people's time.
People who sat there and earned 50,000 shillings a day, others who earned 40,000 shillings a day, and they're yet to go to Naivasha.
How about those people who came and did presentations to them?
Yeah, all those people who came and talked about taxes, those who talked about high cost of living. Let me tell you, that's what I was saying. What surprise were you expecting? The outcome of this thing was known before anybody stepped a foot in Bomas. Before anybody stepped a foot in Bomas.
It's all managed.
We all knew what was going to happen. Why are you wasting our time?
It's all managed. Yes, of course. Prime Cabinet Secretary position is to be entrenching it. Where does it matter? See, Musalia has been serving. He's a cabinet minister.
Yeah.
Ruto can call a minister whatever he wants to call him. Prime Cabinet. You can call him Cabinet for Primes. Whatever. So now what it means is that Musalia now, because that position is a bit elevated than the other cabinet secretaries, maybe, when it comes to pension also, he'll get a pension like this. So Musalia, the multi-billionaire, will get a pension.
Get some more millions.
Yeah. After this, he'll retain a diplomatic passport. He'll get medical cover for him and his immediate family. He will be getting a vehicle that's renewed every 2 or 3 years like this. Just like the retired presidents and retired prime minister and retired deputy president get. Those kind of things. Because he's a senior person.
So
then we'll create a new office.
You just did it so you can sort out 2 people.
Imagine.
No, this thing hasn't come to an end.
But there'll be more positions created.
Maybe
because
a few more
now,
people.
yeah.
A few more people will be sorted.
What I find fascinating is how blind the political leadership in this country, and I mean the entire lot, are to the plight of the citizens. Everything they do seems to be focused on how they can fatten their purses and how they can find ways of living comfortably beyond the jobs that they currently have. And they're relentless about it. They never cease. And this is all supposed to be for our benefit. Right. Let me enjoy my benefits.
Enjoy benefit yako.
Because they've been bequeathed to me by a caring, thinking, concerned, loving political class.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes. Tell us a story.
Let's look at something a little more uplifting. No, this is not uplifting, sorry. This one is a bit of a downer. Then we can go to the uplifting one.
Okay.
This year who shot himself was to retire in 2 months, okay?
Okay.
Mutunga was due for retirement at the end of this year. He had already been given the retirement letters, which were found in the car where he shot himself, the police said. It is not clear of the impending retirement, whether the impending retirement contributed to his sudden move. He was a driver attached to the Directorate of Criminal Investigators Operations Department at the time of his tragedy. His colleagues said he had served for 40 years and was a dedicated officer. They suspect he was not ready for retirement. He shot himself in the chest in his car on Wednesday morning after he had reported to work. The motive for the suicide is yet to be known. His colleague said he locked himself in the car and shot himself. By the time you get to the point where you're shooting yourself, the problem didn't start on that day.
Yeah. What was it?
You see, this matter of mental health that we've been speaking of, and the services that we're told the police are going to offer, the psychosocial counseling and so forth. The people who need this sort of counseling the most are people who are either retrenched or are about to be retired. Because essentially you're telling this person that they are going to go into a complete change. A change of everything, change of the way you live, change of the way you, everything about it. And it's not something that should start a month before you actually retire. It's something that needs to be inculcated in people, and more so in the group of people who we know, given their age, are about to reach that retirement age. So for the next 2 years or so, they are told this. But even prior to that, should there not be plans for retirement from the time somebody actually gets employed?
Indeed.
So you know, and you're constantly being briefed about this. You're constantly being educated. You are constantly in the know. So come the day, it isn't something that suddenly shocks you because you've been talking about it. And nearing the time, you intensify the conversation. Clearly, this is not done.
It isn't.
But it's not just with the police service.
That's going to say
There
it's a
appears to be
cross-board.
something more than this. This is a man who has served in the police service for very many years.
40.
Yes. He has participated in many farewell parties for his seniors. He, I'm sure, has interacted with some of his friends who have retired and has seen how they're living after retirement. He knows retirement is coming. He's gone through the motion. What is it that would then...
You see, others prepare for retirement better than others. But the reason I'm talking about these processes, if they're there, you will get to notice if something is afoot or somebody has an opportunity to talk about his challenges. Because not everyone prepares for retirement. Not everybody, even those who say they prepared for retirement. And even when they prepare for retirement sometimes gives you the shocker. When it actually arrives, you suddenly find the preparedness you thought you had isn't quite adequate.
It's true. But yeah, I do agree that there must have been something else going on with Mutunga at this point because... And also the manner in which he did this. He drove to work.
And he shot himself at the police station.
With his service pistol.
At the police station.
Yeah, so... For sure you want to ask what may have been going on here. It'll be interesting to see what they do find.
Yeah.
All right. So just a little bit of a correction on a previous headline. So... Initially, it is correct. The government has cancelled the contracts for Cuban doctors.
Okay.
6 years after signing an agreement with the Cuban government in 2017. Making the announcement Wednesday, yes, indeed, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumisha expressed confidence that Kenyan health professionals were just as good as their Cuban counterparts. The ministry will not renew contracts with the Cuban doctors. I believe our own doctors are equally committed to the cause. While acknowledging the various challenges faced by health workers locally, Ms. Nakumicha said the government has taken steps to ensure medics are properly trained and their welfare taken care of. That would be interesting because just a week ago, the Secretary General of the union said otherwise. They said we are aware that health workers at both national and county levels face major challenges ranging from training and development for welfare, performance management and motivation, and staff mobility, including transfers between counties and the two levels of management. However, despite these challenges, health workers continue to dedicate themselves to serving Kenyans. She was speaking during the official opening of a 2-day forum dubbed Pre-National Dialogue on Human Resources for Health. So
it's been cancelled like that?
Yes, and they're going to leave soon. So she said,
how many doctors did we have in the country, Cuban doctors?
That's a good question if I can remember.
As of, let's say, end of September.
In the country? Cubans or Kenyans?
Cuban doctors in the country.
Oh, just a minute.
As of end of September. And then how many Kenyan doctors have trained in Cuba since this program began? Because remember there was some exchange of Kenyan doctors going to Cuba to train.
I have to find that information out for you.
Okay.
Biko, just give me a minute. I'll find it.
Okay. As you find it, let me tell you about this illicit affair. A Nakuru AIC pastor was locked out of church together with the faithful after being linked to a divorce case between two members of his previous church. The pastor was in for a rude shock last Sunday after he and his flock found the church gate and doors locked. A section of the church members who arrived earlier held hands and made a prayer before heading back home. On arrival, the pastor and a handful of congregants managed to open the gate, but he restrained the faithful from forcing their way into the church building to avert destruction of property. The man of cloth revealed that he was aware of a section of members who wanted to bring him down, but this would soon be over after the church conducts its elections. There's a letter that has been obtained by the Nairobian, dated October 5th this year, addressed to the national leader of the AIC Church, Archbishop Abraham Mulwa, seeking his intervention in a particular case. In this letter, AIC Lanet Church leadership settled a divorce case between a Gilgil-based military major and his wife, with the pastor accused of causing the division. Reference is hereby made to a letter dated November 3rd, 2022, written by Major, name withheld, and addressed to Nakuru Bishop, concerning the conduct of a pastor in relation to his love affair with the major's wife. The letter, signed and stamped by the church officials, indicates the military officer made a complaint against the pastor after he found out that he was having an illicit affair with his wife while he was deployed to Somalia. Following the complaint, The cleric was instructed to proceed on compulsory leave as investigations were conducted. Now, the man was transferred to another church. That matter has gone to that other church, and people have been told, by the way, this man, you know how he came here? Do you know how he came here? Bibi ya jeshi. Na jeshi complain. Now he's saying there are people who are trying to finish me.
Yeah, how won't they try to finish you? You marry somebody's wife now. What do you want? You ran away with somebody's wife.
He says the church is not just this building. This is some small turbulence. We shall have our elections and set everything in order. It's politically instigated.
Oh, so the wife matter is not a matter?
No.
Oh, those are just sideshows?
Yeah, it was also false accusation.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know, there was a tale to that story I was telling you about.
A tale as in Kia or tale as in story?
T-A-L-E and T-A, both. T-A-L-E and T-A-I-L. You are spot on there. Because...
This is a matter of the DCI.
Yes, because the previous week, there's a gentleman, a superintendent called Ezra Uma, who also shot himself in Utawala and died.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Okay. And he was set to retire in 2 weeks, in 2 years' time. But there's a neighbor who tried to stop him from shooting himself. The neighbor, for his efforts, got shot in the leg. But he had called a friend of his, another police officer, and told her that he was going to commit suicide. Now, of interest is this. Police authorities have launched counselling services, and National Police Service Commission has established a unit and staffed it to attend to this demanding situation. Haven't we had this before?
Yeah.
See, I'm revisiting because I want to ask the question, how many other police officers are in a tricky and imbalanced state of mind and yet are being asked to discharge duties normally? Apart from being a danger to themselves, what about the public that they're supposed to actually look after? That really is my point.
Oof.
Anyway, enough said.
What are the details?
100 Cuban doctors came to Kenya and 50 Kenyan doctors
trained in Cuba.
Yes.
Okay. Those 50, I hope they've been redeployed back to their stations in Kenya.
Well, that would be the assumption.
Okay.
But if you're going to ask these ones to leave, then you will ask those
and
other ones to
also,
come
CS Nahomicha, I hope now we are talking about rapid employment of our trained doctors.
Because you've acknowledged
that we have
now verbally acknowledged that there's an issue. This maybe is a first step towards sorting out that issue because they've been complaining about it for years. So now you verbally acknowledged and said, yes, we know we have an issue, but it's possible for Kenya to handle its health matters with the health professionals you have across the board, doctors, nurses, lab technicians, clinical officers, whatever it may be. So can you sort out the issue? You would never have had to bring in Cuban doctors. And you can imagine how it was a slap in the face for Kenya's health professionals in the first place when you brought these. And these are well-trained, expertise in their own right, medical professionals trained here in Kenya, capability to work anywhere in the world.
There may have been some sense, in an exchange program of some sort, but I think it was just poorly managed.
Very poorly managed.
Yeah, because they're just brought in and dispatched to places.
Go start working.
Start working. You don't even speak English. We have to hire a translator for you because you've been. Now the government is going to establish a new state agency. Okay. This new state agency, whenever there's a road accident, they're the ones who'll be investigating those road accidents. See, like the way we have air transport, air crash investigation. We'll have the Kenya Transport Accident Investigation Bureau. The cabinet sat and in their wisdom they decided, let's approve this thing. It's a very, very good idea. The cabinet sitting in Kisumu State Lodge noted that aircraft accident investigations was created to investigate air accidents, and then the KTIB will be charged with the responsibility of accident investigations in pipeline, road, rail, and maritime.
J'ai une question.
Yeah.
Who does it now? Or it's not done?
It's the police.
Oh, police.
When there's an accident, police will accident.
They're the ones who come, they draw the chalk, they do the thing. Okay.
Yeah. No, you take witness. Huyo driver alikuwa na speed.
Hata nilimuona.
And then the police officer said the driver lost control. Ni kama brake ilikatika. This and the other. Now there will be an agency that will be investigating this.
Okay. When is it supposed to come into effect, this agency?
Cabinet has approved. Now the bill will go to Parliament, blah, 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 for the establishment of this.
Okay.
7 a.m. Let's create something new.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. The government is putting in place a solid institutional framework that will protect and promote the country's rich and diverse traditions. President William Ruto said cultural assets will be instrumental in enhancing cohesion and stimulating economic growth. He noted that focusing on culture will propel cultural industries, creative economy and tourism and expand opportunities for the youth. The government is free to import genetically modified food after the court ruled that there is no evidence of health risks to the public and environment. Justice Oscar Ngote ruled that the government has enough institutions to check the safety of all genetically modified foods. Elsewhere, prison authorities at the Shimolatea intercepted a letter by CAL leader Paul Mackenzie in which he is directing his followers to fast to death even while in custody. These as a Mombasa court ordered the remand of Mackenzie and his co-suspects for 7 more days in a case where they are linked to the Shakahola starvation cult that killed over 400 people. Now, a Standard 8 pupil is among 3 suspected robbers who were killed by an angry mob at Kamukunywa Market in Bungoma County. During the robbery, 3 men were left with serious cuts and a woman was also allegedly raped. Residents have vowed to take matters into their own hands if police fail to deal with insecurity in the region.
Wafika saa 3 tumeanza kukatwa na hawa vijana kama wana bodaboda. Tunaomba serikali itusaidie. Pia iangalie mambo ya uchumi. Pia uchumi imekuwa mbaya. Inafanya vijana wameingilia kazi nyingine. Alafu mambo ya security Kamkuyu. Tukiana na askari. Maana mosi yesi kwanza ameisha nguvu ni mama. Pia askari wengine wameishi hapa miaka hawataki kuenda.
Wana watoto watoko wameanza kutua na sisi wazee. Mpaka watu tunashangaa sasa hii ni mambo gani watoto wanatufanyia watoto nje tunasaa. Sasa hata sasa tumetoka kushika mwingine Chebukaka mchomba wetu ambaye wamemkatakata mapanga.
Mkuche muangalie hapa Kamkuyu shita yenye iko. Kwa maana usalama hapa Kamkuyu imekuwa mbaya. Kitu cha kwanza wale ambao wanasimamia Kamkuyu hii ukianza na Madam OCS, TCC na chief ni wa mama peke yake. Sasa mpaka usalama imeshinda hawa mama nguvu.
Now, 10 people have been arrested in connection with clashes at the Kericho-Kisumu border in Sondu that have left 7 people dead and disrupted normalcy in the region. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki stated that special forces, including the anti-riot specialized forces, are being deployed in the area to contain the situation. The Interior boss asserted they will ruthlessly punish the criminals who have been causing havoc in the Kericho-Kisumu border. Kindiki expressed that the regional police forces failed in their mandate to deal with the clashes, affirming that subsequently such scenarios in the area will be handled differently and with strict adherence to the law. And Environment CS Wipantuya has initiated the dismissal of 23 forest officers of alleged graft following President William Ruto's order. The CS said the ministry will not harbour sacred cows, further warning other KFS officials contributing to the destruction of the forest.
We have had a lot of cooperation from the DCI, helping with the investigations and unearthing the criminal activities happening. And we are here today to witness and ensure that the Chief Conservator of Forests has effected the immediate dismissal of 23 forest officers whose cases have been under investigations and have been found to be in gross misconduct through various acts of abetting and conniving with criminals in destruction of our forests.
The Orange Democratic Movement Party has urged the government to reconsider the planned deployment of Kenya police to lead the multinational security support mission in Haiti. The party in a statement said the deployment has no strategic geopolitical value to Kenya, making the move ill-advised. Additionally, ODM claimed Kenya's National Police Service lacks a constitutional mandate to conduct operations outside the country. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Benson Ingonga, held an inaugural meeting with regional ODPP coordinators to spell out his vision for the prosecutorial agency. The officials were drawn from Nairobi, Coast, Western, Lower Eastern, Northeastern, Nyanza, Central and South and North Rift regions. Ingonga assumed office on September 25th following his appointment by President William Ruto after parliamentary approval. He took over from the now National Intelligence Services Director, Nuruddin Haji. Now, the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry has announced that it has put into operation its office in Changsha, the capital of China's central province of Hunan, amid growing Sino-Kenya trade ties. The office will enable the country's companies and products to enter the vast Chinese market. This is according to the Chamber's president, Eric Ruto. According to the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kenya's total exports to China hit about $270 million in 2022. This is Newswire. Dennis Assetto, good morning.
Spice FM, Nakuru.
All right, a few minutes after 7 o'clock, and it's starting to build up on the Thika Superhighway. That started pretty early, and we'll see more movement as they're trying to get into the CBD. It's also built up on Kiambu Road, and we're looking at traffic coming in on Limuru Road as well as you get just towards City Park and then through towards the city. You're going to come in with some traffic coming on Wangari Maathai, so watch out for that. Westlands is a beehive of activity coming off the expressway at that exit and entry point, and we're also looking at traffic coming in from Naivasha Road, Gong Road, then touching on Gitanga. Everybody coming out towards James Gishuru. It's building up on Langata Road, and some of that will go towards Raila Odinga Way. Industrial area, that quadrant of Lunga Lunga, Likoni, Jogo, and Lusaka, pretty busy right about now as well. Kangundo Road is busy, so is Manyanja Road, as well as Juja Road. So it's Friday morning traffic. It's picking up. Let's know what's going on where you are. Let's try to keep things moving this morning. We'll talk on Spice FM KE on X.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your
Friday
day.
the 13th of October, 2023. It's a day, eh?
Told you this year is over.
Gargoyles and witches on brooms.
Friday the 13th. Mambo ya wazungu.
Okay, so not witches on brooms. People in groundnut shell. Which one do you want?
Or do you throw in crocodiles while you're at it?
People who travel from point A to point B in a shell of a groundnut.
What about the guys who travel in a broom?
No, those ones you said in Vitu za wazungu bana.
Yes.
The broom ones are imported. So, let's deal with the local ones.
Yeah.
Our local issues.
Those things.
Kukalia chapati and such.
To walk on walls, things like that.
Okay. Ndu, why are you running?
I'm running because the Future Makers program is very important. And you ask, what is that? Well, the Future Makers program is something that was put together to make sure that young people, especially girls and those with disability, have a chance to learn, to earn and grow. So that's why we are running. And where are we doing this running? It's in the name of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon. It's around for its 20th edition this 2023, and it's the largest single-day athletics event to take place in Kenya. It's back this year and it's bigger. Have you registered? You should too, because it's a good cause. If you haven't, log on to www.nairobimarathon.com. 2,000 shillings is what you pay. You register, you get the things that you need to run the race, and then all the proceeds go towards this Future Makers program that I'm talking about. It's taking place on the 29th of October. Take off from Uhuru Gardens. And then you ask yourself, okay, 29th, I was booked to do something else. That's okay. Because you can run wherever you are. There'll be a virtual run that will take place the week before.
Right.
If you happen to travel to Mombasa and you're there, you can run in Mombasa.
On that Sunday?
Indeed.
Physically?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can run in Kisumu. You can run in Kakamega. Yes.
Not run to Kakamega.
No. It might take you a little bit longer than 2.5 hours, but not run to Kakamega. While you're in Kakamega, you can do what? You can run.
Yeah, he said he ran in Kisumu and then say run Kakamega. And we are just talking about people who do I don't know what.
Arrive in Cola Nutshell. No. Okay. So the virtual run takes place a week before that. That means that you can run and then record your times, put them on the leaderboard. All of this information available on www.nairobimarathon.com. Let's come out, let's run. It's the 20th edition of it, and it's for a good cause.
Very good, very good. Let me tell you, do you have DSTV? If you have DSTV and you tune into DSTV channel 163...
Repeat that.
Channel 163 on DSTV, you will get Maisha Magic Plus. If you have GoTV and you go to channel 3 on GoTV, you'll also get Maisha Magic Plus. Now, Maisha Magic Plus has this beautiful entertainment that is local productions. There's one local production that premiered earlier this week, and it'll be showing every 8:30 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's called Kasiri. Okay, now it'll be airing at 7:30 p.m. Monday to Wednesday. Another one is coming in 10 days' time on the 23rd of October. It's called Zari, and it'll be airing at 8:30 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now get your DSTV and get going. What do? Dial *423# or download my DSTV or my GoTV app and get or stay connected. Terms and conditions apply. We've been talking about, local production of local manufacturing and all those things. The cabinet met in Kisumu on Monday, like we said earlier, right? And among the things that the cabinet considered is the fact that, one, in 7 days' time or so, we're going to launch the Universal Health Coverage Program. Okay? Number two, so in preparation for that, the cabinet had approved the amendment of major health laws and introduction of some health laws, and those ones were done. And then also the cabinet had considered various other things that can be done to ensure that we have a proper rollout of the health program. Now I'm looking for the cabinet dispatch. I got it. So one of the other things that the cabinet also discussed this Monday as they met was what happens to our health sector. Let me read verbatim what the dispatch from cabinet said. To breathe life to the One Health approach, the cabinet directed that the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, KEMSA, shall ensure that procurement of locally manufactured pharmaceutical products receive preference over imports, in keeping with the administration's plan to bolster local manufacturing, Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, as part of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. That means locally manufactured, not locally sold. Locally manufactured pharmaceutical products will get preferential treatment when KEMSA is procuring.
Okay.
And then, if those are not available, once you've exhausted local capacity, now we go into tier 2 and bring in extras. Do we have that capacity locally for manufacturing of pharmaceuticals? We have an expert on this matter. Dr. Gerald Macharia is a thematic lead for local manufacturing at the Directorate of Health Products and Technologies in the Ministry of Health. He's our guest this morning. Dr. Macharia, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Kenya's Biggest Conversation.
Thank you.
We call that the hot seat of the Situation Room. Are you ready for the conversation?
Yes, I am.
Very good. To welcome you, CT Muga has the day's proverb. Every week, CT comes up with proverb from looks at a country in Africa and looks at the proverbs that they have in that country, and he brings us a proverb every day. This week, he's been giving us proverbs from the United Republic of Tanzania.
Yes.
Today, he has a proverb from Tanzania.
I do.
Okay.
This is our final proverb for the week. A long road cannot lack corners.
A long road cannot lack corners.
No. Not possible.
My tongue. A long road cannot lack corners. Dr. Macharia, say that.
A long road cannot lack corners.
Yes. What's your interpretation of that proverb?
In my view, the real life situation. There's no straight line. You expect there to be ups and downs. That's my take on that.
There will be challenges along the way.
Yes.
Indeed. So first introduce us to this directorate. Directorate of Health Products and Technologies at the Ministry of Health.
Directorate of Health Products and Technologies is a relatively new directorate which was created some 6 months after realization the importance that health products play in healthcare provision because if you went to a hospital and a good diagnosis was done and you went home without medication, to the general public is you have not been treated.
Yep.
Treatment comprises of taking some commodities in form of medication home to take for the specified period so that to get the benefit of the medication. And of course, the baseline is get cured.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we've been talking about, local pharmaceutical manufacturing for a while. We've been talking about, like during COVID and when we saw with the advent of COVID, do we have capacity to actually produce our own vaccines? Now, even the cabinet is discussing this and saying, all right, so we shall have ways of ensuring that we have local production of vaccines that can benefit not just this country, but the region, but also our own local dawas. Do we have local production of medicine in this country currently? What's even the future? Currently, do we have pharmaceutical companies that actually produce dawa from end to end?
Yeah, the situation in our country is we have a vibrant local manufacturing of medical products. I don't want to be limited to medicines. There are medicines and other allied products.
Okay.
We have a total of 32 manufacturing companies in Kenya who are actively producing pharmaceuticals and allied products for consumption in our country. We also have five companies which are in the different stages of setting up, and one of them, two of them are vaccine manufacturing. One of them is Moderna. I think during COVID time, you heard about Moderna, which was producing COVID-19 vaccine.
Yes.
We have a local company owned by the government of Kenya called Biovax, which is in the process of setting up production of vaccines. Yes, we have capacity to produce medicines. As per now, we are not producing any vaccines, but we are in the process of setting up 2 companies which will produce vaccines for consumption in Kenya and in the world. It is important to note that pharmaceutical or pharma market, pharma production is a seamless market in the sense that for as long as the product that you produce WHO certified, you can produce a product today, sell it in New York tomorrow morning. That is the situation of pharma industry.
If we look at Kenya as, with specificity, what would it take for Kenya today? Because essentially what we're looking at, frontline care, or our first responder care, the suggestion is that to produce to take what is needed from a local manufacturing and local selling point of view. What would need to happen in the country today to say that could actually be possible? That your first line of treatment would be medicines, vaccines, treatment that is manufactured locally. And we know that right now that doesn't happen. What would need to happen in order for that to be a reality?
One of the things that needed to happen was the government, the political will, because you know how our administrative landscape is. On paper, the government talked about preferential treatment, preferential procurement, whereby 40% of the product for use in our space was supposed to be procured locally. But of course, because of various competing interests, which I don't want to go into, that has not happened. But I'm happy to report that in the new administration, they have taken up local manufacturing. They've given it the first priority, and if you have seen what has happened in the last procurement, because the biggest procuring public procuring agency is KEMSA.
Yeah.
The last tenders that were advertised, there was a specific tender mainly directed to local manufacturing, whereby we exhaust capacity locally before we move to the next level of imported product. Well, we are not in a position to produce 100% of what is needed in the country. And in the world, there are very few countries that produce 100%. You'll find even the developed countries, they produce 90, 10% comes from outside suppliers. In our country, the government, Ministry of Health, the Kenya government, the Kenya Kwanza administration has given priority to local manufacturing of pharmaceutical product, in realization of the fact that if we are going to have a seamless rollout of UHC, we need to build capacity of local production because of the obvious reasons. The lessons that we learned during COVID time, the world was locked down. As a country, we import 70% of what we consume locally. And at one time, we found ourselves on the receiving end when the company which we were supposed to procure COVID-19 vaccine, that's Serum Institute of India. And when India got into a crisis, the Prime Minister of India gave a directive that there's not going to be any export of COVID-19 to any country before they get enough for their home consumption. And we were left outside there. Nobody cared what was going to happen to us. If COVID was a killer disease as it was perceived, we would, all of us, have perished.
Can I ask in this way then, of the medicines, of the vaccines, of all of this cross-border treatment that is consumed in Kenya today, what percentage then of that at present is locally manufactured or produced?
I would like to take you to a platform. Every country talks about the essential medicines list. The essential medicines list are medicines which cater for 80% of the public need. And in our situation, we are manufacturing 15% of the essential medicines list. We are on a campaign mode to attract and interest investors in the 85%, which is not manufactured locally.
And those would still be on the essential list?
Yes.
And what could you give an idea into what is on this essential list? What kinds of medicines are we looking at here?
The essential medicines list mainly comprises of antibiotics, painkillers, some essential strategic painkillers, medicines that treat the lifestyle diseases. We all know about hypertension, diabetes, and of course, we have some products that treat cancer, which is a big problem in our space. So the main component of the list are life savings, life-saving medicines, which you find in any hospital setup, like. For example, if you're involved in a road traffic accident, we need to supplement fluids, and we need to give you the best of the antibiotics that is available to treat the injuries. So such kind of medicines.
Okay. So 15% of those manufactured locally today. And essentially, this is the first line that government is talking about today that says, look, as we roll this out, because these essential would fall into that line, your first point of care.
Yes.
So would we then be saying that what the action then is to bring in investors who would then allow 85% in this cadre of essential items for treatment to then be done at a local level? Or like you said, okay, maybe it's not possible to get to 100%, but would that
least
be
boost this
at
from
least boost this from
15%
15 to 50 even? Is that what the thrust would be?
Yes, this can be done in two ways. One, we need to interest the already existing companies. The main reason as to why our local manufacturers were not coming into that space is because they were not getting contract with the government. The moment we get into sustainable framework contract, that space is going quite a substantial of that space will be filled by our existing local manufacturers. Because remember the investors will look at the approach as a business venture. Therefore, if they cannot make a profit in that space, they will not venture. But now, with the realignment and the change of approach into tendering process, we are going to find a lot of interest from the local manufacturers. We have also gone out through our president in every visit, every bilateral meeting is talking about local manufacturing. And we have quite a substantial interest from out there. We are getting calls for investors and making inquiries on how the process of setting up a manufacturing unit in our space.
Okay. I'd like to ask a couple of questions. Number one, of these 32 manufacturing companies that we say are already in this country, are they operating at 100% of their capacity, or are they operating at lower than that?
Most of the companies are operating between 40 and 60% of their installed capacity. And this depends on the market, because you cannot produce a product. Medicines have an expiry date. So unlike any other sugar or any other type of consumer commodity, you cannot produce and keep them in your warehouse waiting. You only produce on requirement, because you can only store them for a certain time frame provided.
So what you're saying is many of these local manufacturing companies for pharmaceutical and allied products are operating at, let's say, 50% on
50%,
average.
yes.
So because 40 to 60, 50%. And it's mainly because of market.
Yes.
But yet, we have a capacity, if all of them are operating at even 80%, the local market would be sufficient for them. Is that not so?
Yes and no.
Okay, let's start with the no.
The market, if you look at, like I said, the essential list comprises of 862 products. And when we manufacture 128, it means even if you operate at 100%, there's some space, which is...
Yeah, there's a big gap.
There is a gap which cannot be covered unless we do diversification.
Okay.
So, yes, we can improve in that space. That is by improving the volumes that we buy locally in this spirit of Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. So if we may increase the volume that the government buys locally, then the capacity can be increased. And the no is because we don't produce the whole range.
Okay.
Yes.
We need to diversify.
Diversify, yes.
And that requires investment.
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes they may require investment. You can still use the installed capacity for some product.
Okay.
Yes.
Are we going to break?
Let's take the break.
Okay, let's take a break.
It's 7:30. Kenya's biggest conversation is this morning hosting Dr. Gerald Macharia. He is the thematic lead, Local Manufacturing Directorate of Health Products and Technologies at the Ministry of Health. We are talking about the impact of local pharmaceutical production in the country. The push here is for Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. How can we ensure that much of what we consume in our health facilities in terms of pharmaceutical and allied products are actually manufactured locally? What needs to happen? That's the conversation. We'll be back shortly on Spice FM, on KTN Home, on YouTube and Facebook.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If a lion shows you its teeth, it doesn't mean it likes you.
It doesn't mean it likes you. It won't start. A liar calls as witness one who is either dead or far away. Say it in
Ben low, nin inte, nin there, you markati kadikta. You know this character called liar. He has disturbed people. So when you tell him who are your witnesses, he will take you to a place where it is difficult to verify.
For someone like me who sweats a lot, I cannot survive there. Sweating is biblical. Good. And you must blame it on Adam, not me. Because Adam messed up and he was told, "No, you fellow, you, by the sweat of your brow, thou shalt eat."
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
It's a sunny morning in Nairobi, highs of 28 and lows of 16 today. We'll see highs of 27 and lows of 13 in Nakuru. It's sunny at 15 in Nyeri with highs of 26. Friday, we'll see highs of mostly sunny conditions at 25 in Eldoret, currently at 12. Sunny at 24 in Mombasa with highs of 31 and sunny at 26 in Malindi with highs of 31. It's 21 and sunny in Kisumu with highs of 30 and we'll see highs of 28 in a sunny Kakamega at 19. 19 and partly sunny in Kampala with highs of 28 and going into a cloudy morning in Dar es Salaam at 26, highs of 30 and lows of 24. Johannesburg is sunny at 12 with highs of 27 and lows of 11. And it's mostly cloudy at 24 in Lagos with highs of 31. 31 will be the high in a mostly clear Kinshasa at 24.
Chilled Spice.
It's busy on the Thika Superhighway coming into the city. That's to be expected. Langata Road seems to have fizzled out in terms of traffic. Not much of that is happening now. Magadi Road is also trying to spill over towards Langata Road, but that's moving along. You don't have too much of a hold-up, at least not for long. Outer Ring is giving from North Airport Road, coming in from Cabanas. Now, Outer Ring, you'll see that pile up a little bit as you're getting into... junctions from Donholm and Manyanja Road and Kangunda Road, all of that trying to go then towards Jogo Road and then out through towards the junction on the Thika Superhighway. So it's all connected really this morning. Kiambu Road is busy. We're not looking at too much over that drift is where it'll be heaviest. Northern Bypass then coming out towards Ruaka Road and coming in from Kitisuru as well is heavy. We're in traffic hour proper. Let's see what happens in a short while and let's talk on Spice FM KE on X.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Continues with Dr. Gerald Masharia, City.
Yes, please. What I wanted to ask is this. I'm listening to what it is that is our capacity at present in terms of our manufacturing might in the pharmaceutical world. And I'm thinking of this percentage of this capacity that we have and that we utilize. Is it all consumed locally or do we export some? That's question number one. Question number two. If they were to manufacture at full capacity, do the health needs of this country, are they able to absorb everything that is actually manufactured?
Yeah, thank you. Of our local manufacturers, quite a sizable of what is produced locally is exported into our neighboring countries, mainly in EAC, COMESA. You see a lot of our locally manufactured products available in our neighboring countries. When you walk into a pharmacy, the first thing that you see is a Kenyan-made product. And they are proud of our locally manufactured product. So export, like I said, the theme of local manufacturing is not for local consumption only. Remember, one of the advantages of local manufacturing is if we increase capacity, there is a saving of the would-be spent foreign currency.
Yep.
When you do export, you attract inflows of foreign currency. And it is also important that in our country that this space will create jobs which are needed to our young Kenyans. Now, back to the question. Yes, we are exporting. I don't have the figures right now, but we are the biggest exporter in EAC. Actually, if you ask, Kenya is viewed as the hub, the pharmaceutical hub in EAC. Now, on the installed capacity and manufacturing 100%, yes, we can increase the percentage from 50 to 60 or even going to 70 if we increase uptake from the public sector. But 100% we may not consume all of it because of the same reason that we're only producing a small proportion of what is required in our essential list.
Then this also goes into in the East African community, because we are members of the East African community, which has several other countries. Is the government also marketing our local manufacturers of pharmaceutical and allied products so that then the neighboring countries can also have the same? Say they are either buying locally or they are buying locally within EAC, which would mean that products that are produced in Kenya can also get preference in Tanzania, in Uganda, in Rwanda, in DRC.
Thank you. I think it's important I put this into perspective. There is the East African Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Plan, and each of the East African countries have a number of manufacturers. What happens in the East African Manufacturing Plan, product manufactured within EEC are given priority within the EEC countries. And Kenya being the largest and the biggest, of course, takes advantage of that space. Therefore, going forward, we we are consolidating the gains in the plan, the EEC, so that products that are produced within our space are given a priority.
Okay.
It is also important that we look at the bigger space. If you look at the African market, it is important to note that Africa only produces 3% of the product that are consumed in Africa. So, our biggest issue is opening up the created barriers to allow free movement of goods and personnel. Reaching out in the African market, we cannot even have capacity with the existing manufacturers. If the borders are opened and we are open to the African market, the existing manufacturer in our country may not, even if they run 24 hours, they may not produce enough for Africa.
Again, then looking at the 32 in Kenya, how many of these are multinational pharmaceutical companies and how many are indigenous Kenya?
It's important that we look at manufacturing in a different way because local manufacturing of pharmaceuticals is when a company chooses to set up a factory in our jurisdiction, whether they are local or whether they are multinationals, they are considered as local manufacturers.
Okay.
In the same space, we have 3 multinationals, and the others are local investors. And we would rather call them local investors because we don't want to delve beyond that.
Okay.
Because I know obviously the thinking is who are the Kenyan local manufacturers. I don't want to get into that space because we have Kenyan residents by whichever means who have invested in that space, and therefore they are rightfully Kenyans.
Sorry, go ahead.
I seem to be stuck on something. Maybe you can help out here. That here we are and we're saying that in terms of capacity, in terms of expertise and knowledge, that there are today companies, organizations that exist that have the wherewithal to be able to do this. And the need is also there. That goes without saying. The consumption capacity of Kenya is also quite high. Again, as is the need. But then we seem to be anticipating the pedal in terms of saying, because so many things would happen, you're importing a lot of medication, importing a lot, and so the prices, of course, are very high in terms of what you would apply to this medicine. Goes without saying also that for whatever was produced locally, it would be cheaper, especially for the consumer. So that makes healthcare overall a lot cheaper. So I'm still stuck at what then prevents this manufacturing on a large scale. Is it the funding? Is it the capacity? Is it the decision to implement and act on policy? Where are we at this point that says, all right, let's lurch from this place whereby we are consuming a lot more than we produce to get to a place where at least we can start to balance out those numbers?
Yeah. The question is rather touches on quite a number of diverse issues. One of them is in our space, we have the right personnel trained to work in our pharmaceutical industry. We were one of the largest producer of pharmacists in our space who are required in those manufacturing units. Then coming back to our investors, we have 2 types of investors. We have investors who have been in that manufacturing space for a long time and they have the financial might. Therefore, they don't have a big problem of diversification. Like I said, the biggest problem was assurance in the market. That is number one. And in any investment, it's also important to talk about investors around the world look at the incentives. If I have to set up a company from India or China, the first thing that I'll look at are incentives. Are we providing the necessary incentives for an investor to invest? Because pharma investment are hefty. A medium-sized pharmaceutical industry will cost you between 5 billion and 100 billion.
Shillings or dollars?
The shillings.
Medium size.
Medium size. Therefore, the investments are hefty, and sometimes our local banks may not be able to undertake, because if one company walks to a bank and it takes a loan of 100 billion,
that's it.
You can imagine nobody else. The bank is going to get shocked.
Yeah.
So we mainly, as it is now, interesting the international market to come and invest because of those hefty investments. And we have given quite a substantial of incentives in this space, because the government has waived VAT on manufacturing equipment. They have waived VAT import declaration form. Fee is waived for raw materials that are required for manufacturing of pharmaceutical product. For companies that are setting up in special economic zone, VAT and duty is waived on equipment, all equipment, and all raw materials, regardless of whether you get them locally or you import. Therefore, there are those incentives that you find most of the investors, international investors, are coming into the special economic zone because of that obvious advantage, especially when excise duty is waived, VAT is waived on all equipment and all raw materials, and then even when you set up electricity consumed in manufacturing VAT is exempted. Wow! So that is a big incentive. And also, when you set up in a special economic zone, the corporate tax for 10 years you pay at a rate of 5%. Then for the next 10 years you pay at 10%. This is a big incentive. And then we, as the government, the National Treasury allows repatriation of profit. There are countries where the repatriation of profit is controlled. In our space, you are allowed to repatriate to your whatever location. You may choose to put them in Switzerland or your mother country or wherever.
You can take everything out.
Yes, your profit.
What will your benefit be? Just local employment.
Local employment is big.
Okay.
But then you would have what kind of ownership then do you have? Because also, there's a lot that goes with the ownership of a brand. There's an ownership of an idea, ownership of an execution. Because essentially what I see, and maybe you can correct me, is that if you do have a foreign investor coming in and saying, all right, let's produce these things locally, we're also saying that, at any point, you can take the thing and go back to wherever it is that you're coming from. So what ownership does Kenya have? Of course, understanding the challenges, finances, what ownership would Kenya have of these things? And can they truly then be Kenyan brands? Or is that not is that not the goal for them to be Kenyan brands? Or are we just saying that they must be locally manufactured?
I think, like I said, in a pharma space, getting a product, a company 100% owned by Kenyan, that is not the issue. Okay. The issue is getting product manufactured in our local space. Okay. Like I said, local manufacturing is any investor who comes into our space, sets up a factory and produces medications in our jurisdiction. Okay. So about ownership, most of the investors may not feel comfortable if we start twisting them into giving some
shareholding.
That is not the practice. That's not best. That's not the best international practice. You look at countries that have made it; they will allow you to walk in. You don't necessarily have to get local shareholding. But if you move into that space, put your money, and you can see the investments are hefty.
Yeah,
we really don't want to twist you.
When so the incentive here for Kenya is one, we are saving on import.
Yes,
the amount our import bill, and we're getting local employment. And we are also earning foreign exchange when we export into the region and elsewhere.
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask about original and genetics. You are a pharmacist. Are we talking about opening up the space at all? Anybody who wants to come? You want to come and produce genetics? Generics. Sorry, it's fine. Original is fine.
When we go out there, we are looking for investors who will come to our space, and most of all the investors who are coming to our space are what are called generic manufacturers, and it is important that I clear this. What is this? A branded and generic product. What happens in the pharma industry is if you do R&D and come up with an innovator product, you are allowed to, under Geneva Convention, to sell the product exclusively in a market, world market, for 10 years, what is called the patent period. So after the patent period, the formula becomes a public formula. Any company can take up and start manufacturing. What has been happening in our space is we have product whose patent expired a long time ago, but because of the treaties, our market is a liberalized market. We will be required to play by the rules of that open market. Therefore, we will have product the patent expired, but they are still treated as a branded product. Therefore, but since the space is open, most of those branded product companies don't like venturing into local, especially in our African. Many of them will shy away. But we have quite a number of generic manufacturers who come to our space, produce product at a competitive price. And therefore, the volumes, because when you set up a factory, you need to look at what are the cash streams, because you are doing it as a commercial enterprise. You need to make profit at the end of the day, so you must look at the volumes. And most of those generic companies have made it because their prices are competitive.
There's something that I want to ask.
Yes.
Yes, we get employment, but there's this question of capacity. Do we also ensure that when someone sets up their industry here, that by the time a certain period has passed, that capacity and their knowledge therein has been cascaded to the local, so that after a certain period of time, we know that at least a certain number of people are well versed in how these things are done?
Yes. In every investment, the people who are working in those industries are our locals. And of course, in the process of working in those industries, you build capacity because knowledge. Of course, there is the component I know we're looking for. There is in pharmaceutical manufacturing, there is a component that we talk about technology transfer.
Yes.
Technology transfer, in this space, we are talking about a technology holder transferring that technology to a technology recipient, that is a local company, and there is a mutual agreement on how much you are going to pay over a certain agreed period, so that technology is 100% transferred locally. We have set a platform to attract technology transfer, because eventually we need to own the technology.
You see, there's also this little bit that we encounter, that when you allow people to come in, you also allow them to come in with their personnel. So yes, they set up locally, but there are certain areas of expertise that they will come with because we probably do not have it. It's that element. Yes, technology transferred, knowledge transfer, because practice makes perfect, as they say. And for instance, if you were to give me a hoe and ask me to dig, I would know how to dig, because as a child, it's something I learned to do as a child. Okay? Yes. People who've been in the manufacturing business, like some of, say, in Asia, India, it's something they're familiar with. So when they come here, yes, probably the technology they're coming with is not the latest and the most modern. That tends to be in their own countries. Now, if indeed it's something that we seek to do, but we do not force or we do not ensure, because when you talk about the 3% production, meaning there's a 97 capacity on this continent that is not exploited, it's a space we need to move into very swiftly. And without the transfer we're talking about, the intellectual property transfer and the technological transfer, we'll be missing out on an opportunity that is actually staring at us.
It cannot be put in a better way. Technology transfer becomes an important component for every country which hopes to become a pharmaceutical manufacturing hub. Yes, companies that are setting up in Nairobi, there's some expertise that we do not have, and we mainly rely on India, because India have a cross-section of virtually all the personnel in the space of pharmaceutical manufacturing. Yes, we need to get into that space of technology transfer. We also need to do strategic training, like in the area of vaccine manufacturing. That's a new space, and it's called the space of biomanufacturing. We have started training in the area of biomanufacturing, because that is the next field of manufacturing. Most of the common product that we consume, I believe all of you are familiar with insulin.
Yes.
Insulin is a bio-manufactured product, and we don't have that expertise, but we have started collaborations with the institutions that train in that area of biomanufacturing, so that we have capacity. And going forward, in the next 5 years, we should be able to produce, to have expertise in that area of biomanufacturing.
Okay. In the final minutes, paint that picture for us, the next 5 years. You said the next 5 years, at least increase our expertise in biomanufacturing. In terms of increasing our production and bringing in local investors, what are your targets?
Our target is we get up to 60 manufacturers by 2030. We'll have brought new
60
investment.
New or 60 total?
A total of 60.
48 new?
Yes.
Or 28 new?
28 new, yes. So that we get the variety. So that, like I said, 15% is produced locally. We need to increase the capacity to around 60 and 70. That is a journey, it's not an event. We need to follow the due process, attract the right skill set, the right manufacturers to come to our space to fill in that gap. And by 2030, pharma industry should be one of the biggest employer in our space.
Okay. But in terms of procurement, now with this directive to KEMSA, Are we saying that immediately the 32 companies can sit assured that everything they're producing now, which is, for example, in the essential medicines list, would be absorbed by...
Will be given priority.
Will be given priority.
Yes.
And they're given priority because we are already producing below capacity. It means that they'll be absorbed.
Yes.
Okay.
They will be absorbed.
Dr. Ali, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Dr. Gerald Masharia is the thematic lead for local manufacturing in the Directorate of Health Products and Technologies at the Ministry of Health. He's been our guest. Keep it here for more conversations. Good morning, 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has lauded the pace of the ongoing rehabilitation and expansion of Karenga airstrip in Kericho, saying it will be completed well in time for the Mashujaa Day celebrations. He said infrastructure is an enabler of development and that his ministry will do all it can to open up Kenya for investment. The CS spoke when he assessed the ongoing work at the airstrip that will cater for guests arriving for the Mashujaa Day celebrations to be held at Kericho Green Stadium on October 20th. Non-local teachers seeking transfers from the northeastern Kenya due to insecurity have suffered a major blow after the Teachers Service Commission interdicted them over discharge of duty. This follows a directive by the Commission in September for the teachers to report to their workstations. The affected teachers who accused the TSC of overstepping its mandate now say they will camp outside the Commission's headquarters next week while petitioning Parliament to intervene. Now, a week before the commencement of the 2023 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examinations, the National Assembly Committee on Education has released a damning report confirming that there were indeed cases of malpractice in last year's examinations. The inquiry began on January 27, 2023, a week after the release of the 2022 national examination results, following public outcry on concerns regarding allegations of examination malpractices across the country. The committee revealed that the Directorate of Criminal Investigations had handled a total of 68 exam malpractices cases, with 44 of them pending investigation. 17 cases are pending before court cases. 6 cases have already been finalized. And the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union has expressed support for the government's decision to terminate the contracts of Cuban doctors who have been working in the country since 2018. KMPDU, through Secretary General Davjiatella, noted that the funds the government was spending on employing the few foreign medics could have been enough to put hundreds of their Kenyan counterparts in employment. The remarks came after Health Cabinet Secretary Wafula Nahomicha, who spoke at the official launch of the pre-national human resource for health dialogue, said the decision not to renew the Cuban medic program is because she is confident that Kenyan doctors are up to the task. Now, Internal Security Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo says the government is working to enhance its border security by earmarking more ports of entry and exit in different parts of the country. Omolo spoke while leading a delegation from the Border Control and Operations Coordinating Committee for a public consultation in Marsabit County, where they established Banya Fort as a point of entry and exit between Kenya and Ethiopia. Omolo appealed to Eldoret residents to cooperate with the government in fostering security around the new border post. Now, the East African community has raised concerns about increasing hostilities in North Kivu in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. According to EAC, the hostilities are perpetrated by armed groups against the East African Community Regional Force. The hostilities have resulted in the loss of lives, injuries and displacement of civilians. EAC Secretary General Peter Mathuki said such actions are in stark contrast to the peaceful resolution of the conflict through the EAC-led Nairobi process. And France's Interior Minister has banned all pro-Palestinian demonstrations in the country. In a statement, Gerald Darmanin ordered foreign nationals who break the rules to be systematically deported. The move comes as European governments fear a rise in anti-Semitism triggered by the Israel-Hamas war. These as German police broke up a pro-Palestinian demonstration in Berlin. France has a Jewish community of almost 500,000, the biggest in Europe. France's Muslim community is also among Europe's largest, an estimated 5 million. And Iran has called on Islamic and Arab countries to form a united front against Israel as the West ramped up warnings against exploiting the volatile situation and touching off a regional conflict. Tehran, which financially and militarily backs Hamas, has come under intense scrutiny since fighters of the Islamist group stormed across Israel's southern border over the weekend, shooting dead people in their homes and on the streets in an onslaught that claimed more than 1,200 lives. Iran has insisted it was not involved in the attack but celebrated the assault as a success. And Gaza's humanitarian crisis continues to deepen, with warnings that people are at risk of starvation and fuel could run out within hours as Israel continues airstrikes and withholds essential supplies from the enclave in response to Hamas' brutal attacks. The decades-old conflict between Israelis and Palestinians entered uncharted territory this week after Israel suffered its worst attack by Palestinian militants since its founding 75 years ago. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
All right, a few minutes after 8 o'clock, and traffic is not doing too badly today when we talk about space around the city, a little bit moving on the Thika Superhighway and in from Westlands. Quite some movement as well. Very, very busy coming in from James Gishoro, heading out towards Wayaki Way. And all of this is coming off Naivasha Road, off Gitanga Road. And we'll look at a lot of that moving then through the city later on. There's some outbound traffic coming out of Westlands, and there's also some outbound traffic on the Thika Superhighway this morning. We're going to see what it all looks like as we come closer to the end of traffic hour. Let's talk on Spice FM KE on X and keep things moving this morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your...
Ndu?
Yeah?
Please remind us about the 20th edition of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon.
It's happening on the 29th of October. It's about 2 weeks from now, actually. Have you been training since the last one? And the question is, so what are we coming out to do? Well, like you said, the 20th edition of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon takes place this year. It's a special one. And are you coming out? You register on www.nairobimarathon.com. It's 2,000 shillings. And once you do that, you then be able to take place in the race that kicks off from Uhuru Gardens early that morning. And as you do that, you also contribute towards the Future Makers program. It's a program that gives an opportunity to young people, especially girls and those with disability, to learn, earn and grow. You've heard about it. You've participated in it. This is a special one. Participate in this one as well.
Very good. Well done. Now, tell us about GoTV, Maisha Magic Plus, and DSTV, of course, and the new shows.
There are many new shows. Which one do you want to hear about specifically?
Zari, the one that's coming on the 23rd.
Okay, on the 23rd of October, it's going to be an interesting one. And there it is. You ask yourself, so there's a program? Yes, there is. And you mark your calendar because it's actually quite interesting. You can imagine a situation whereby somebody... Okay, I've lost it again.
It's moving.
Yeah,
Why is it dancing?
I don't know, man. It's gone. Help me. Okay.
There it is.
All right. It's a new show that it's set to premiere on the 23rd. Local drama. It's guaranteed to keep you on the edge of your seat. So imagine 2 daughters, 1 father, 1 mother, different personalities. The question is, are they even blood relatives? Living in one house, in one family, and you start to ask yourself these questions. It's coming on the 23rd of October. If you have DSTV, it's on channel 163. If you have GoTV, it's on channel 3. It premieres at 8:30 p.m. on the 23rd, Monday to Friday. Find out the truth behind this family and their different personalities in this melting pot.
2 daughters, 1 father, 1 mother.
Yes. Are they related?
Of course
They think they are. The story opens and finds out if they actually are.
Only the mother knows.
Only the mother knows.
So it's premiering on the 23rd of October
Yes,
on
it is.
Maisha Magic Plus. This is on DSTV channel what?
163.
And GoTV it's
3.
Channel 3. Dial star 423 hash or download My DSTV or My GoTV apps to stay connected. Now let's have a conversation about what happened, what we saw coming out of the courts yesterday. The Environment and Land Court yesterday dismissed a petition challenging the government's move to lift a ban on the cultivation of biotechnology foods, paving way for the growing and importation of GM crops. In a dispatch in October last year, the cabinet had lifted a 10-year ban imposed on biotechnology foods, sparking a number of court cases due to fears that the importation of GMOs might be harmful to human health, animals, the environment, and the biodiversity of Kenya. GMOs and the application of technology is largely contested. However, Justice Oscar Angote dismissed that case, saying Kenya has put in place robust biosafety regulatory framework with inbuilt structures that must be met before the importation or cultivation of GMOs. So, that particular case dismissed. Let's have that conversation. We are joined by Dr. Joel Ochieng, who is an agricultural biotech. He's from Agricultural Biotechnology and Secretary General of the Kenya University Biotechnology Consortium. He's here with us in the studio. Dr. Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you.
That's the hot seat of the Situation Room. It is not genetically modified. This is organic like that.
Okay.
To welcome you to the conversation, City has the day's proverb. This week's proverbs have been from the United Republic of Tanzania.
Yes.
Jamhuri ya Muungano.
Yes,
wa
and
Tanzania.
this is our final proverb for the week. A long road cannot lack corners.
If you want to talk to me, talk to me direct. Don't go round the corners.
Yes, and don't go around looking for
corners. Dr. Ochieng, how do you interpret this proverb?
Well, I think the first thing that I may want to clarify is that there is quite a lot of misunderstanding about what happened and what is happening. The first issue...
No, before we go into that one, let's do the proverb first. This proverb says...
Yes.
There's no long road without corners from Tanzania. What do you think the proverb is telling us?
Well, it just means that you should not tire striving, regardless of the length of the road or those corners. You can still surmount. That's the way I would personally look at it in light of my situation today.
Very good. So your long road has corners.
Yes.
All right, let's get into clarifications. What's been happening since that time when the cabinet issued a dispatch and said, all right, so let's lift this ban, and there was a lot of public outcry, and there were several people who moved to court. Take us now from that point.
Yes, as I said earlier, there's one aspect that needs seriously to be clarified to Kenyans.
Okay.
Even ahead of that, that the lifting of ban on GMO was not the lifting of all regulatory systems. It was not opening any floodgates. It was just that there was a law and regulations that govern the use of GMO in Kenya. But then a ban was put in place that regardless of these laws, regardless of the permissions that you can seek, now you can't do it. That was a ban.
Now you can do what?
Now you cannot do it.
Okay.
Then now lifting of the ban meant that now we are going back to square one, where now you can do it according to existing standards, laws, and regulations.
Okay.
Where now if you want to cultivate or if you want to import, then you have to apply you have to show your case. It has to be determined that it is safe and all that kind of thing. That's where we are. But then, of course, people misunderstood to mean that lifting ban means opening floodgates. You can now bring it, kama Mutumba, hakuna sheria, that kind of thing. That's the misunderstanding that